G'day fellas. In this video we're going to be going over the 8 biggest mistakes that Age of Empires 2 players make when they're playing Age of Empires 3. The first mistake that Age of Empires 2 players make is that they'll often prioritize gathering from berries instead of from hunts. So berries gather at a much slower gather rate. It's 0.67 per second versus hunts, which is 0.84 per second. Now the hunts also have an upgrade at the market. There's 2 different upgrades that you can get. The level 1, which is hunting dogs, and then level 2, which is steel traps, that can upgrade this even further. Whereas the berries continue gathering at 0.67 for the entire game. The second mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they'll often build mills in the early game. Mills have the same gather rate as berries. Now, while they do have upgrades, it's a 400 wood investment that you're going to need to spend, and it's better that you place your resources elsewhere. It's also important that you make sure that you gather hunts. Even if you need to traverse a quarter of the map to get there, prioritize hunts over mills and over berries. The third mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they spend a little bit too long in the first age. In Age of Empires 3, you want to prioritize aging up to the second age as quickly as possible, which means normally an age up time between 4 and 5 minutes. So you're going to be prioritizing collecting as much food as you can as quickly as you can. Make sure you keep up settler production throughout that age 1 though. The fourth mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they don't herd their animals effectively. Ideally, you want to herd your animals towards the town center. That way, it reduces the amount of time that your settlers spend traveling on the way towards the hunt from the town center and on the way back in the event that there's a raid by the enemy. The fifth mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they go for water too early. You want to avoid going for water, especially in the early game, because you need to establish yourself on land first, and it's much faster and more efficient to establish yourself on land, build up a small military force, and then begin investing in the water. There are huge economic gains to be made in the water, but it's important we establish ourselves on land first. The sixth mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they don't build enough anti-cav. The counter system in Age of Empires 3 is unforgiving, and it means that if you've trained 20 crossbowmen without training any pikemen, that just a measly force of 5 hussars will be easily able to take them out. However, had you trained 5 pikemen and 15 crossbowmen, you would overwhelmingly win the fight. The seventh mistake that I see Age of Empires 2 players making is that they build estates a lot earlier than they need to. It's important that you gather all the silver mines that are on the map first and foremost, and then you rely on estates after. The gather rate for estates is significantly lower than silver mines, and it's a huge investment at 600 wood each. The 8th biggest mistake Age of Empires 2 players make when playing Age of Empires 3 is that they don't train their villagers constantly. It's important, whether you're in the first age, the second age, or the third age, that you're always training settlers with your town center. There are exceptions to this, but 99% of the time you need to be training settlers when you're not aging up. It's really important that you keep yourself in the habit of doing that, cycling every 25 seconds through your town centers and making sure that your settlers are being trained by those town centers. If you've got any questions about the mistakes that I've mentioned in this video, or you think that I've missed out a couple of mistakes that Age of Empires 2 players make that you've seen, leave a comment down below, because I regularly go through the comments and I will respond to them. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope that you've been able to take something away from it.